Welcome to GED Examination Center, where your success is our priority. Question marks. A question mark is a punctuation symbol placed at the end of a sentence or phrase to indicate a direct question. For example, she asked, "Are you happy to be home?" The question mark is also called an interrogation point, note of interrogation, or question point. To understand the question mark and its use, it's helpful to know that in grammar, a question is a type of sentence expressed in a form that requires or appears to require an answer. Also known as an interrogative sentence, a question which ends with a question mark is generally distinguished from a sentence that makes a statement, delivers a command, or expresses an exclamation. The question mark always indicates a question or doubt. A question mark ends a direct question. For example, what went wrong? When do they arrive? The question mark is the least demanding of punctuation marks. All you need to know is what a question is, and you punctuate accordingly. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines a question as an interrogative expression, often used to test knowledge, as in, "Did you go to school today?" The purpose of the question mark would seem simple then. They are direct questions, invariably followed by the interrogation point or question mark. But a look closer shows that the seemingly simple punctuation mark can be tricky to use and easy to misuse. There are a number of cases where using the question mark can be tricky for writers. Multiple questions. You use a question mark, even multiple question marks, when you have multiple questions for which you expect an answer or answers, even with the sentence fragments as such. What were her travel plans? Beach? Tennis? Reading War and Peace? Travel? Note that the quote marks at the end of War and Peace come before the question mark because this punctuation mark is not part of the book's title. Omit the comma and other punctuation marks. A question mark should never be placed next to a comma, nor should it be next to a period, unless it is part of an abbreviation. Question marks should not generally be doubled for emphasis or paired with exclamation points. And a question mark should never take the place of a comma. For example, "Who was there?" she asked. You would never pair a comma and a question mark, neither before nor after quotation marks. In this sentence, the question mark also comes before the quote mark because it ends the interrogative sentence. Indirect questions. As a general rule, do not use a question mark at the end of an indirect question. An indirect question is a declarative sentence that reports a question and ends with a period rather than a question mark. An example of an indirect question would be, "She asked me if I was happy to be home." You do not use a question mark when no answer is expected. Here are some examples. "Would you mind closing the window?" is framed like a question, but probably isn't. The same applies to, "Would you please not bang on the door when you leave?" You omit the question mark when you ask a rhetorical question, a statement for which you do not expect an answer. If your question is a polite request for which you simply assume you'll get a positive response, "Can you carry in the groceries, please?" omit the question mark. Expressing uncertainty. The question mark can be used to indicate editorial uncertainty, either in parentheses or brackets. Some include a space between the uncertain word and the opening parentheses. Others omit the space. For example, "The patient reported taking 15 milligrams of Tylenol." According to his biographer, Smith bought the company in 1984, but wasn't actively engaged in its management until 1990. See you in our next video.